anytime we have a chance to support a teacher, teaching has become a very hard job. There continues to be state mandates in the classroom that make it harder and harder to teach. But our teachers are amazing.
They are amazing.
Just do amazing things every day. And unfortunately, with the climate right now, they sometimes feel devalued. And so I think anytime we can do anything for our teachers to encourage them, help them with resources, all those kind of things, it's impactful.
Good. Yes. Welcome, everyone. We're so glad you have tuned in with us today to hear from Shawn Pratt, the superintendent for McKinney Independent School District. He is leading the charge for over 23,000 students and teachers who value students, value education, and is doing a great job doing so. Happy to have you here today, and you're in for a treat to hear what all is going on with MISD. Well, welcome, Shawn.
Thank you.
We're so glad you're here today.
I am too.
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
So you are the McKinney ISD, the McKinney Independent School District, which is, ISDs are unique to Texas, right?
Yep.
But you're our superintendent, so the top dog here in McKinney leading our school district. So tell us a little bit about yourself and then maybe kind of what a normal day looks like in your world.
Oh, okay. Well, so yes, I'm from the area. I've really spent my entire life in Collin County, other than maybe going off to school. Came to McKinney in '93, or actually '92, and did my student teaching.
Wow.
And they hired me, and I've been here ever since '93, teaching, coaching, and moved over. I was the head football coach at McKinney North when we opened it up, and then I moved into athletic director role, and then I moved into an assistant superintendent role for a number of years, and then I've been doing this 1 year, so I'm still a little green. I'm
Love
figuring
it.
things out. Yeah,
That's amazing.
yeah. But typical day is obviously there's always meetings, and from a central office level, you're trying to meet with all the different departments, and often with them all in the room together to make sure that we're all on the same page and that we're all contributing to all of our initiatives and those kind of things. And then you have the things that come up.
Yep.
As you can imagine.
The
Things
lovely
come up.
fires, I'm sure, that
Yes,
end up at your
yes.
desk.
Yes, there's plenty of things that come up during the day that you got people helping you manage those things too. And so you take those on and you figure out the best solution and you keep moving. So yeah. But
Good.
it's been great. McKinney ISD's been great to me and my family. I've had 3 children that spent their entire education, high school education in McKinney, and all came out great. And one went to TCU and graduated, and's out working in the world. And I've got 2 at Texas A&M, and all 3 were very well prepared for their next steps when
That's
they left
awesome.
high school.
That's
so,
great. So
yeah.
you have the personal experience, too, of what it's looked like having that education infused into your children
Yes,
from the
ma'am.
district, and then obviously had your hand in teaching and coaching and kind of rising through the ranks of the district, too, which is really neat.
Yes, ma'am. But McKinney ISD's been good to me and my family,
Yeah.
for sure. It's a good
That's
place.
awesome. I love that. So how did you end up here? I guess you said your student teaching brought you here. And what was the class that you first taught with your student teaching?
Texas, yes, Texas history and health.
Okay.
And I split between 2 teachers, and they were both awesome.
Yeah.
And split time between the middle school, Fabian Middle School. We were one middle school town.
Wow.
And McKinney High School, and
Yeah.
just had a great experience. Fell in love with McKinney. It was really, I grew up in Plano, and really when I got here, I was like, this is Plano when I was young,
Right.
you know, and just felt at home and fell in
Yeah.
love with the people in the district, and stayed here. And then of course then it took off and started growing, and all that changed. But yeah, just. I didn't want to go back home, I wanted to try something different, and had the opportunity in McKinney to do my student teaching.
Yeah,
And just
that's
been here ever
incredible.
since.
That's
so
incredible.
31 years.
Yeah,
Yeah.
amazing. So how many students do we have in the district? And I know it probably changes daily.
Sure,
but
it's over 23,000,
Wow.
about 23,400, right in there. But
That's amazing.
it does fluctuate. But
Yep.
the good news is we lost about 1,600 kids after the pandemic.
Okay.
And then we just kind of flatlined. But we are on the upward trend, and that's not the case, with everybody around us. Even I was shocked to find out that this year Frisco actually had less students than last year, and I think it was the first time in 20 years that they'd had less, with their growth.
Right.
But our demographer has shown us the forecast, and we're actually going to grow quite a bit. That northern part of our school district up Trinity Falls and a little south and east and west and north of Trinity Falls is all growing and developing. There's some areas out near Princeton and New Hope that are in McKinney ISD that are growing. And so we anticipate by 27, 28 that we'll have a record enrollment number for McKinney ISD again and continue to rise.
Right. That's great.
Yeah.
Good to hear.
Yes, ma'am.
That's amazing. So we mentioned about 24,000 students. And I know that the school district recently completed the strategic plan,
Yes, ma'am.
which I had the privilege of participating
Yes,
in
you
with
did.
your team. And I really commend the leadership that you provided and your team provided in getting the community involved in that. I mean, you had parents, you had community leaders, obviously the students, which was incredible. Hearing the student panels was so neat. And those students, I mean, are impressive.
They are.
They have bright things ahead.
And it's
like,
just
I want to go back to high school.
Yeah, exactly.
Those
It's
kids are amazing.
It's very different than when we went, for sure.
Absolutely.
But yeah, including the students as always. And we've got a superintendent student advisory council, and we just had a meeting with them last week, and we brought in our district advisory council with our student advisory council, and just had conversation and find out from the students what do you think we did well, where did we miss, what do you wish we'd have given you that you're walking out of here without, and those kind of things. They're the ones receiving the education, and we didn't know how they feel and what they like or what they wish we'd have done differently. So it's always great feedback.
McKinney ISD, so you're not a revenue-generating organization, right? But if you were to have customers, the students are your customers.
Students
and so
and
you're
parents
doing
are
exactly what you should be doing and getting their feedback. And
Absolutely.
Is there anything you'd like to share with us that came out of some of the superintendent?
Sure. The big one, and we made some progress this year, but we're going to make even bigger progress, is our students want personal financial literacy. And, obviously you have economics, but that's more of a, 30,000-foot macro type thing. And, they want to know more about credit cards and about how to balance their checkbook and how to have a budget. And it's so much different than, writing it down in a check register. So we've gotten that feedback the last 2 years. We made some progress this year, but we're making even bigger progress next year. We're actually, we've settled on, we're bringing in the Dave Ramsey curriculum.
Nice, that's awesome.
To supplement economics.
Yes.
So that they feel like they're walking out with a good base of how to manage their personal money and balance a budget and do those kind of invest. And so that was overwhelmingly, they gave us a lot of feedback, but all of them agreed to that they want that financial.
So what years will that start? Do you have that planned out
So
yet?
we added a little bit this year, but we're purchasing the Dave Ramsey curriculum for next school year.
Okay, and that will it be for high school students or seniors?
Yes,
or
it'll be for high school students and in economics.
Yeah,
And that's a tough piece too, because as freshmen they're not ready, and they'll tell you that. And really, as sophomores, they're not ready either. It's kind of when they start getting in their junior and senior year, and they're thinking about, okay, this is about to end, and I've got a next step. What's my path? and they start worrying a little bit more about their financial independence.
I love that. That's so wise for them to give that feedback as well.
Yes.
And then wise, of course, for the district to say, hey, we hear you. We want to make a difference and meet you where you're at and help provide that training that you are asking for. So that's incredible. Talk to us about the strategic plan. What are some of the outcomes and what's ahead for the strategic plan?
Yeah, so the board got together originally and kind of set our vision, every student, every day, and what our beliefs were. And then, as you mentioned, we brought in about 200 community members, students, parents, community members, administration, teachers, and went through that process. And really our pillars, safety and security and teaching and learning are at the very top. It's unfortunate but safety and security these days has to be talked right alongside teaching and learning, because you can't teach and you can't learn if people don't feel like they're in a safe environment.
Right.
And so, those are at the top. And then we had culture, we had HR, communication, which we all are always trying to improve our communication. And then finance and facilities. How are we using our resources and our budget, and what are we doing with our facilities, and those kind of things. So getting the community to come in and give us their input. We could sit in there in the cabinet office and make a bunch of decisions, but if we're not in tune with what our community wants and our students want, then we're failing. And so it was a great process. Lots of great feedback, and it helped us narrow us down to what our objectives are and what our action items are going to be. And that the latest is we've taken all those action items after the board approved it, and we've kind of worked on those of what you can't do it all at once. Right. And so just working on the what years we're going to implement what. Obviously, budget plays a big role, and I won't get deep into the budget, but we, like every school district in Texas, have a deficit budget right now. And so, that kind of can limit you a little bit. But we've taken the action steps we know that we can, and not all of them cost money, but the ones that we know we can afford to do and are going to be implementing those year one. And honestly, a lot of them had already started, and so they were things we just are staying with.
Great.
Yeah.
One thing I admired from as an outcome from the meeting was your desire to keep the strategic plan front and center and provide transparency and updates to the board and obviously to the public from that. So I think oftentimes strategic plans and a lot of organizations can just be a document you sit on the shelf and never do anything with.
Exactly.
But I think y'all are doing a great job of keeping it front and center.
Yes, ma'am. And I'm sure you don't watch the board meetings, but if you were to watch a board meeting, you'll see that a lot of the discussion action items that we're bringing forward, we actually have them tagged to our strategic plan. So if it's teaching and learning, it's, objective 2.11.
Right.
And we tie everything we're doing to the strategic plan and what those actions are.
That's great.
Yeah.
I have watched some of the recaps. I think you do like a 2-minute recap.
Yes, our board members do,
which those are great. That's very helpful to just summarize the overall meeting.
People are busy, and some people just need to hear that 2 or 3 minute
that's
video
been helpful.
to know. Yes.
From your communication standpoint,
Shelley
tell your team.
Shelley came up with that, and it was a great idea.
Good.
And
Yeah, that's great.
Yes.
So what's something that's on the horizon let me circle back to something. So as we're talking about community input, I want to know, we have lots of different community stakeholders, whether it be employers or folks that may have kids in the district or not in the district, but folks that are listening to our podcast. And I would like to know, what can we do and what can our listeners do to support the district? What are some of the needs that maybe we could help?
Sure. I think just our communities and partners, we are open, and we need partners. We need our community partners, from individuals to businesses. There's a lot of opportunities to come and be part of the school. And what I love is, and obviously we can't have an open door policy, but, we've got a number of business partners. We've got tutors. We've got mentors. We do, like, for instance, a month ago or so, we did a senior tour where we took seniors through the building. And I just love those events, and I love when our community's inside the school, because, there's a perception out there, right? And especially these days between the politics and the media of what people perceive in their heads going on in school. And then once they get, our seniors were just blown away.
Wow.
And they're like, wow,
Yeah.
we had no idea. And some of them were very honest and said, I'm going to tell you, this is what I thought I would see, and it's not what I saw at all. And so, they got in there and saw some of the really neat things our kids are learning and doing, and how engaged they were, and teachers teaching. And but I think reaching out, we're working right now with Volunteer McKinney in terms of really had a meeting with Allison Monroe and Angie Beto, and we're going to work on some not policies, but some systems next year where they can help more. They have people that want to volunteer.
Yes,
they just don't know where, and we're going to kind of plug them in and come up with some specific things where they can come help us out.
So maybe more to come on that front. And maybe we could do, from our perspective at the EDC, we could maybe do some follow-up conversations or even posts or something to help folks who want to get more involved with the district have here's a one-stop shop landing page or contact for you if they want to get more involved.
Absolutely.
That's great.
They can help the PTAs, PTOs, and then, anytime we have a chance to support a teacher, teaching has become a very hard job. There continues to be state mandates in the classroom that make it harder and harder to teach, but our teachers are amazing.
They are amazing.
Just do amazing things every day. And unfortunately, with the climate right now, they sometimes feel devalued. And so I think anytime we can do anything for our teachers to encourage them, help them with resources, all those kind of things, it's impactful.
Good. Yes, we want to support our teachers because they're training the next generation. It's
Absolutely.
hugely important,
Yep.
So we very much admire the teachers and being with the students every day. My oldest is in second grade through one of the schools in the district, of course, and she is really taken an affinity toward reading lately. Awesome. And her teacher went out on a limb and bought 3 or 4 different these chapter books. I think they're I Survived. It's I Survived books. And my daughter came home ecstatic because the teacher just bought her extra books to read.
Yes.
Which I love, And she didn't have to do that, but that's going above and beyond to help train her and bring that love of reading to fruition even more.
Teachers teach because they love it and they love kids and they've got a heart for it. And they'll do whatever they have to do to have their kids be successful.
Yes, which is amazing. So good. So what are some of the challenges that teachers face right now? What could we do maybe to support teachers? Is it purchasing from their Amazon wish list? I love that teachers have those right now. Or is it having different industry professionals in the classroom? Or what could we do to support teachers?
Yeah, those things are great. I think, and we're working with Volunteer McKinney specifically about some of the things you just mentioned also. I think encouragement goes a long way. It's and I touched on it, but unfortunately right now there's a climate, public education's been kind of dragged into politics, and there's been a devalue of teachers in order to gain political actions, and I think that sometimes just keeping their morale up and encouraging them and hearing good things. I mean, being that parent or that community member that actually sends that positive email that says, thank you for what you do every day. I think that's huge. That's awesome. And then the Amazon wish list is huge. It's obviously budgets are an issue, deficit budgets, and while we spend most of that on the campuses and we'll continue to do that it's restricted, and so any time they can get help and not be spending money out of their own pockets because they're going to do whatever they have to do. So
awesome. So talk to us a little bit. What are we doing? We talked about some of the financial literacy training that's started and that's going to be rolled out into a larger capacity in the future. What else is the district doing to prepare the next generation of workforce?
I'd say the big one there is probably our CAPE program, our career and technology programs. And we brought in a third party to evaluate that and to give us an unbiased evaluation of the program and suggestions and strategies for moving forward. But, and as you know, I even asked you for some information and the regional information on the job force in the future. And that's kind of what we're going to work on. We'll be getting that report the end of May and really focusing the next year on how do we reorganize that? Are we offering the programs that offer our students the best pathways after high school? And that's whether they're going to college to study nursing or whether that's somebody that knows college is not for me. I want to leave high school and be employable and being able to be financially independent and support myself and my family, those kind of things. So we're really looking at that.
Great.
and going to kind of just revamp that program and make sure that we're offering the programs that give our students the biggest bang for their buck, and that we're targeting all the different levels of students and all the different interests, all the different socioeconomic levels, and all of those things.
That's great. That's very good, and that's encouraging for us. We're on the corporate recruitment and corporate expansion component here, so folks, employers can't come to McKinney and can't expand once they're here if they don't have that talent to help them to create their products.
Yes, exactly. And we just last week we met with some officials from IBM,
Great.
and they have this program called Z Explorer that we were not aware of, and it's about working on hard drives.
Okay.
And they presented the whole information about it was 80-something% of large corporations still are on hard drives.
Really?
They kind of explain everybody thinks everything's cloud-based, but talked about, all the different industries. And they have such a shortage of people that are trained to work on the hard drives. They themselves have started this initiative, and it's going to be free to our district. And we're going to have students, and we're going to implement this, and we're going to have students that can actually get certified while they're in high school and be employable. And the average is like $80,000 coming out of high school.
Wow.
They also can use those certificates and go into college and study at even greater. North Texas was there also, and they have a program and kind of walked us through that. So whether we're putting those kids on a college path to continue or to come straight out and start a career.
Wow.
So there's things out there.
Yeah.
We've got to find them. We've got to implement them and create those partnerships with IBM and those kind of corporations to make sure that our students are benefiting from it.
Right. That's incredible. That will be a great asset for the students. And
Absolutely.
really, yeah, you're right. It either makes them employable right out of high school or sends them on to further education, which is incredible. So I had the privilege of participating with Nancy Kalishaw and Todd Young.
Yep.
They hosted a group, I believe it was welding students at Encore Wire a couple of years ago, and we toured there, and the students were raising their hands left and right, asking questions, and very eager to learn. Obviously, they're in welding. They like to use their hands to create something, and so a very employable opportunity there with Encore Wire, and their students got to see that live in person of what opportunity could look like right out of high school, which is really neat.
Yeah, I went through the welding about a month ago, and just what the kids are building and making are just incredible. There was a kid there that was finishing off his trailer, and he started a power washing business, and he built the trailer to put the power washer on and the big tank and all those things, and he's creating his own business.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's so good.
We've got amazing kids.
That's a small success story just in that of itself. Do you have any other student success stories that you've seen? You've been in the district for, you said, 31 years, so you've probably seen some kids that thought they had no potential, and you've seen them probably rise. Can you share maybe an example?
Sure. Sure. And, there's thousands of
I'm
those
sure.
because every year you see them or a kid graduates and you maybe lose contact for a while and they come back and they're doing outstanding things and it just does your heart good. But, there was a kid when I was at McKinney North, a kid named Chris Dunlap. And Chris, as I was the head football coach there and we opened the building, but I always went in the hallways to find my student managers. And I always tried to find those kids that you could tell they were just looking for a place to belong and they were trying to find their way. And so anyway, Chris as a freshman was just a mess. And not a bad kid, but just kind of, be honest, on everybody's nerves. He just was everywhere and in the middle of everything. And so I talked Chris into coming out and being a football manager, and I put him in the AVID program, convinced him to get in the AVID program. And by the time he was a senior, he'd improved so much, and I was so proud of him. He went to school, and while he was at school, he just continued, and he'll tell you that the AVID program gave him the skills and the confidence, or he never would have made it. Wow. And anyway, he got down there and he actually got out of school and went into teaching. And he was, I think, his second or third year of teaching. He was Huntsville ISD's Teacher of the Year. And just was super proud of him. But while he was in college, he also went to work for the football team doing what he did at McKinney North and was a football manager and equipment manager. Then they hired him back as their head equipment manager. And then about a year and a half ago, Utah State hired him. So anyway, he's out there killing it. And if you'd have seen him as a freshman, you would have never imagined
That's amazing.
that he would do it. But, a lot of credit goes to our AVID program and what it does for kids. So
that's incredible. Tell us briefly what AVID is for folks who might not be aware of that.
So AVID's a program that it helps. And I'll be honest, like my first child was a GT, just very high academic. I had kind of 3 levels of students academically. If I could go back, I would have put him in AVID. It teaches them social skills. It teaches them organization skills, study skills. They help them through the college process. They help them write their letters to the colleges, build their resumes. They actually teach them. I went by AVID. It was actually during the senior tour.
Okay.
We went in the AVID classroom, and they were actually in a college program showing them how they find their pathways, how they sign up for courses, all those kind of things.
That's awesome.
So just a wealth, but I think one of the things that people forget about is the social skills. I mean, they teach them how to look an adult in the eye and have a professional conversation and to feel comfortable in those settings. And I went to Boyd's AVID graduation 2 days ago, and just story after story of kids with hardships that got into AVID. And they all, each one of them got to speak, and and it was 80-something kids, but they all talked about how AVID turned their life around, helped them, with grit and social skills and how to get through some really tough situations to go be successful.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it was inspirational.
That's so great. I love that you're doing that too. When we're talking with employers, we hear a lot of employers say, hey, my folks have the the knowledge base of what it takes to do the job, but they lack the soft skills. Yep. And to hear that the district is even investing in the soft skills that might not pick up on a STAR test, right? That's testing for the knowledge, but you're teaching the human aspect that will help them be successful, which is incredible.
And as we know,
needed.
Kids today are growing up with a phone or an iPad or a computer, whatever. And if you don't manage that, I know I did that with my 3 kids and forced them, to have conversations and to put those things away. Yep. And if you don't manage it, they struggle with the soft skills and the interaction. Yes. And then so AVID does a great job with that.
That's great.
Yes, ma'am.
Love it. So we talked a little bit about post-high school. I know there's an organization in town, McKinney Education Foundation, which does incredible work. Talk to us a little bit about what the value of MEF is and how that supports the district as well as the students.
Sure. No, it's the McKinney Education Foundation helps our students and our teachers tremendously. I think since its inception, they've given over $10 million in scholarships to our students. But along with that, we have our guidance counselors from the MEF on every high school campus that help them get the scholarships from the institutions too. That $10 million doesn't even include that. Wow. I think they've given it's over $1.5 million to teachers and grants. Right. So every year our teachers are allowed to send in a request, and then MEF goes through those, and our teachers get grants to do things in the classroom for students. And you talk about a special day when some of our administration goes with MEF and goes around to those campuses and presents those grants and checks to the teachers in their classroom with their kids. And it's just a really special day. But no, it is a huge benefit for our students, our teachers, and our school district as a whole. That's great. Yes.
I have the privilege of grading some of the student scholarship essays and then the teacher requests for funding, and it's always encouraging to see the teacher requests. I mean, one that really comes to mind, there was one I think I graded last year maybe. They were wanting to provide a vending machine for books.
Yes.
And some of the ideas that the teachers are presenting are just so innovative and outside the norm of what I saw growing up. I'm like, I want to be an elementary school kid again and have a vending machine for books. How special, you know?
Yeah, they're always looking for ways to, just to incite kids to want to learn, to read, or whatever it be.
And I love that the district, that MEF provides that opportunity for applying for additional funding and support because, again, like you mentioned, there's budget deficits and our teachers need that, our students need that. When the teachers are thrilled and excited to be there at work, then it overflows into the learning environment for the students.
I know you said you interviewed Sheila, and I think she's got some big ideas and that are really exciting, and she's very motivated to make those things happen. So we're excited about what the future is going to bring. Also,
that's awesome. Well, our kiddos are in good hands.
Yes,
so
ma'am.
We appreciate it. So what's one thing you want McKinney ISD to be known for?
I mean, always first and foremost, the core is just having great teachers that care about kids and take care of kids and love kids. And that's the core, right, of what we do.
Yep.
But then past that, I think just excellence. And we've talked a lot about, and we're trying to evaluate everything. With limited budgets and those kind of things, you can't do it all. But whatever we're going to do, let's do it. Let's be excellent at it, and let's do it the very best we can. And that's some of the process we're working through of the things that don't give us the most bang for our buck, strategically abandoning those things and making sure that the things that give our students the best chance and the best learning, that we're putting our resources there and that we're excellent in what we do,
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's what it's all about.
Yes, ma'am.
That's very good. Okay, so let's go to some rapid fire questions.
Okay. All right.
This is just going to be more about you personally.
Sure.
Just some fun stuff. So say whatever comes to the top of your head, okay? So if you had a superpower, what would your superpower be?
Super strength. I'd be Superman.
Ooh,
super strength.
Super strength. Love
Being
it.
invisible would be pretty cool too if you could do that.
That would be pretty cool.
Yeah.
You could be like the superintendent, a fly on the wall in all the classrooms,
That's
right?
That's right. What's really going on?
Yeah,
here?
what's really happening here?
Yeah.
Bucket list travel destination.
Oh, it probably would be tied in with some kind of sporting event.
Okay.
The Masters just happened. That's on my bucket list. I've got a number of different college football places that I'd like to be. Maybe a hunting trip in Alaska, so.
That sounds neat.
Nothing overseas. I'm not a flyer. I'm a little claustrophobic.
Okay.
And so my brother's lived overseas his whole life. I've never left Collin County, and he's always like, I'll pay for you to come visit. And I'm like, I look at that plane flight, and I'm like, I don't think so.
I don't think so. Not spending hours being claustrophobic.
Yeah, so things inside the States.
Yep, that's great. I love it. Let's see. If you weren't in the district, what would you be doing?
If I wasn't in the school district, what would I be doing?
Hunting. No.
Yeah, I mean, if it pleasure, I'd
Yeah.
be probably hunting something outside. I
Right.
mean, playing golf, hunting, mowing my yard. I love
Yep.
mowing my yard, just being outside.
Come
I
on over to
like.
my
So,
house if you like.
Yeah. So
That's awesome. Good. What time of day are you most productive?
morning, no doubt. I'm an early morning, 4:30 a.m.
I have gotten
Yeah.
early emails from you in the morning before.
I'm much better than I used to
I don't
be.
mind at all. I'm more productive in the morning too. That's why we're doing
Yes.
this podcast in the morning,
ma'am.
because
Yes,
I'm
ma'am.
sharper. So,
Yes.
best meal you ever ate?
I'm a pretty simple guy. Like a good burger, good pizza, good tacos.
Yep.
That's kind of my deal. I'm not for the real fancy dining. So
Yeah.
I've had a lot of good burgers in my time.
That's good. I love it. Keep it simple. Okay, if you were a flavor of ice cream, what would you be?
Oh Lordy. I don't know. I mean, I love ice cream. I love every kind of ice cream. I don't know. I'll keep it simple. Chocolate. I don't know.
You'd be chocolate ice cream. Love
I
it.
don't know.
Well, good.
That one's hard.
It was hard. I know. I had to
Yeah.
end on a hard one for you. See if your brain's still fired this early, right?
Yeah, there's a lot of different ice creams out there.
You're right. That's good.
Yeah.
Well, we appreciate your time today, and
No, thank
can't
you
thank you
very
enough,
much.
and your team and your cabinet, the teachers, for all the administration. I mean, from the librarians to the counselors. I mean, there's so many folks that are involved in training up the next generation, and y'all are doing the important work. So we,
Well,
on behalf
thank
of the
you.
community and the Economic Development Corporation, we appreciate what y'all are doing, and thank you.
Thank you. And on behalf of all those teachers and everybody in McKinney ISD, thank you for having us. We do have great people that love kids and doing great things every day.
Good. We'll keep
Yeah.
it up. We're in your corner.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Appreciate you.
Thanks so much for joining us today with Shawn Pratt. And our district is in good hands. Our employers are in good hands with the next generation of workforce coming up. Please stay in touch with McKinney ISD. You can visit mckinneyisd.net. We will also link to all the social media handles for McKinney ISD in the show notes. And please don't forget to like, subscribe, and follow wherever you consume your podcast. We're so happy you're here and look forward to having you on the next one. Thank you.